Hello guys, today we are going to be cooking some pork shoulders. Got a couple of them here. They're about 8 pounds each, so they're kind of small. I was looking for a couple of 10-pound pork shoulders yesterday, and all they had was a couple of 8-pounders, so I went ahead and grabbed them. I'm going to do a practice, just a practice run for a competition we have coming up. Got a few competitions coming up. And it's been a long time since I've actually cooked a pork shoulder. It was actually last September where I actually cooked 8 pork shoulders on my Yoder smoker. But today I'm going to be cooking one of my pork shoulders on my pit barrel cooker. You know, I bought the pit barrel cooker about a couple of months ago, and I thought it was too small. And a buddy of mine, Chris at Bushmaster Barbecue, talked me into getting a Gateway drum smoker, which I think was one of the best decisions I've made. Yeah, that thing just cooks really, really well. But today I'm going to be cooking one of these pork shoulders on my pit barrel smoker for the first time, and my second shoulder I'm going to be cooking that on my Gateway drum smoker. I've already trimmed one of the pork butts down. Didn't take off a whole lot. The butcher did get into some of the bacon, if you will. So I would like to see more of a fat cap here, but I've already trimmed this thing up. I got the money muscle exposed. I'm sorry. I've got the horn side as well. I trimmed all the silver skin around the horn. So what I plan on doing is obviously turning in and slicing in the money muscle, but getting some really nice rub and bark around the horn side for chunks. So I'm going to turn that in as chunks, and then I'm also going to be taking off the tubes and putting that inside my box. Now again, these are a little bit smaller than what I would have normally liked to get, but they're going to get by. And again, this is just a practice run, just to do a test run, if you will. So I trimmed some of the fat off. I took a lot of the silver skin off of the horn side because I do want to get some rub in there, and get that nice bark, if you will. So there's going to be 2 spices though, so it's not going to be really a direct comparison on smoker versus smoker, but I do want to see the bark that the pit barrel creates, as well as the Gateway drum smoker, and see which one I like. Hey, I might switch to the pit barrel smoker, I don't know. So on one pork shoulder, I'm going to try some of this Heaven Made products. This one is actually Texas Best Rib Rub. So I'm going to try this. It's good on pork ribs and stuff too, but I'm going to try some on the pork shoulder. Again, thanks to Chris at Bushmaster Barbecue for turning me onto this spice or this rub. I can't wait to try it. On the second one, which by the way, they're both Smithfield pork shoulders, so it's a good product. And then on the second one, this one here that I still haven't trimmed, I want to trim that up exactly the same way. I'm going to try this product from Proud Souls. This is a soul swine spice. I really like the color, guys. Hopefully that comes out pretty nice on the camera, but that should give me a nice rich color on my pork shoulder. The other one also looks like some paprika, but not as pronounced as on this spice. So I can't wait to try these. These are 2 totally new rubs that I've never tried before. So looking forward to trying that. So I'm gonna finish trimming this thing up. I'm gonna go ahead and rub both of them down. I'm gonna get my pit barrel going, and I'm also gonna get my Gateway drum going. And I plan on cooking these because they are kind of small, probably 4.5, maybe 5 hours. I will have a probe to check the internal temperature. What I'm shooting for is 160 degrees internal temperature, and I'm gonna wrap them at that point. And I will probably pull both shoulders at about 195 and let them rest for about an hour before I even cut into it. But I'll take you along once I start up my drum smokers, and let you know how everything goes. And I will be spritzing as well, guys. I got to make sure that these things do not dry out. I did take some fat off, but not too much because I don't want them to dry out. But I will be spritzing with apple juice. The temperature, it's going to be right at about 325. I know my Gateway drum, I can measure the temperature because it's got a nice gauge on it. The pit barrel doesn't have a gauge, so I'm gonna go based on the instructions. It says to open up the bottom vent at halfway open at my elevation, which is about 3,800 feet. and just run with it and look for the appearance. But I am going to maintain or monitor the internal temperature, make sure I don't get too hot. So at 160 I will wrap, and I will pull at 195. I'm going to let them rest for an hour, and then we'll take a look at what they look like. But I will take you along, so stay tuned, guys. Alright guys, welcome back. So I've got the both of my smokers, the Gateway and my pit barrel smoker going. Just dropped the pork shoulders in there, and I will show you. I'm already at 325 on the Gateway, so I want to start closing these vents down and try to maintain that that 325 temperature I'm going to go with. So let me just show you the shoulders in there. Got my Tappy probe hooked up. Just going to close that down. And the pit barrel, again, this is the first time that I've used a pit barrel smoker, so got the shoulder in there. So I will be spritzing in about an hour, and I will show you what the shoulders look like at that point. But so far, the again, I've used my Gateway before, but the pit barrel is really easy to set up. I do have the intake at the bottom there, a little bit less than half opened, and that should hopefully get me in that 325 range. I would like to see the pit barrel with a gauge. I might add one to the lid somewhere, just so I can see what the temperature inside is, because I'm kind of going into it blind, not knowing this this smoker. But I will probably end up putting a gauge somewhere on the lid, so I'll have to modify that myself. But so far so good, guys. We will check on these shoulders in about an hour, and I will be spritzing, and I will show you what they look like at that point. So stay tuned, guys. All right, folks, we're back. So we're an hour into the cook, and my internal temperature is at 140. So I am going to spritz using apple juice. Got a really nice color already. These things cook really fast, guys. So gonna make sure it's getting nice and wet. Yeah. So cover that one up. Let's check the pit barrel. Ooh, this smells good. Oh, looks like my money muscle rolled off there. That's okay. We know that's gonna cook faster than everything else, and I'm okay with that. That's some really nice color. These things, again, guys, cook really fast. Both internal temperatures are at 140, exactly 140. So to me, they're cooking at fairly even temperatures. My Gateway, I've got it at 325 degrees, and both internal temperatures are the same right now. I put them in at the same time, so to me, so far, pretty impressed with that pit barrel. I have the intake a little less than halfway, and again, both of my internal temperatures are at 140 right now, so it tells me that I'm cooking right at about 325. So again, we're an hour into it. Because I'm already at 140 internal temperature, I'm probably going to wrap here in 30 minutes. So in 30 minutes I will wrap. I am going to put some liquid into the foil paper once I wrap these. So I will show you that process in about 30 minutes. So stay tuned, guys. Alright guys, it's been about 2 hours now. I'm going to go ahead and wrap. The internal temperature on both shoulders is right at 165. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap them. I'm going to take the one out of the Gateway first. And it is looking amazing, as you can see. Before I wrap it, I'm going to put a little bit of honey. Okay, and on this shoulder, this is that soul swine, the Proud Souls spice. So I'm going to add a little bit more of that. Just a little bit on the top. Just like so. And I'm also going to spritz it with apple juice. All right. So I've got the color that I was looking for, nice mahogany color. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap. Make sure my probe is in there. And just wrap it nice and tight. Baby back in there. Again, fat side down still. Go ahead and cover that one. Let's get the one out of the pit barrel. See what that looks like. Ooh, that smells good. Money muscle's looking good as well. Take my gloves off here. Won't be needing those anymore. And this is a shoulder that's got the Heaven Made product seasoning. I'm going to put a little bit more on that one. Okay, put some honey. Just a little bit. And then spritz it with apple juice. And cover it nice and tight. That nice and tight, guys. Put it back in there. I'm going to put the rod back on the pit barrel. That is part of the exhaust. So real simple, just put it through there and put the lid back on. So again, I'm at 2 hours into it, and I'm going to probably leave it covered for about an hour. So we'll check in an hour and pull them out of the foil, and then probably one additional hour, on the grate, and we should be ready at that point. So stay tuned. All right, guys. So we're about 3 hours and 30 minutes into it. I actually left them wrapped for an hour and a half. 30 minutes over the time I originally wanted to, but the temperatures were kind of stalling a little bit, so I let it go an additional 30 minutes. Right now I'm sitting at 190 internal temperature on both shoulders, which is pretty amazing, because again, I don't have a thermometer on the pit barrel, so I don't know what that's doing internally, but something tells me it's in that 325 range, just like my Gateway drum smoker is. Sorry guys, it's a little windy up here, so my shades are blowing around, but I'm going to make a quick glaze. I'm going to take them out of the foil and let them sit on the grate for maybe 5 minutes after I put this glaze on there. I'm just going to take a little bit of apple cider vinegar, just a little bit. To that I'm going to add a little bit of honey. Okay, then I'm going to add some Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. About equal parts of all three. And I'll be brushing that on. So I'm just going to mix it up here real quick in a bowl. Oh, it smells good. So again, it doesn't take a whole lot to make a glaze at home, guys. And this will get it a nice caramel color, nice and shiny as well. So I'm going to bring you guys in a little bit closer. I'm going to take the shoulders out of the foil and show you what they look like. Alright, so I think you should be able to see it there. Alright, so let's start with the Gateway and take that off. Alright, let's open this bad boy up. And I really don't need a probe in there anymore. I know that I'm already at 195 or 190. 191 now, according to my Tappy. So it's climbing pretty fast. Oh yeah. Alright, so I'm just going to take the probe out. Don't need that anymore. Take the shoulder, put it right on the grate. Throw this foil away. So I hope you guys can see that. Thought I'll get you closer here in a minute. Brush this on lightly. Just like that. Oh yeah. That's looking real good. Alright folks, I've got the shoulders already separated into what I would use for a competition, which would be your money muscle, your tubes, or your shredded, along with your chunks. This is all I would do to turn in for a competition. So, I mean, obviously we're gonna eat the rest of the shoulder as well, but for competition anyway, this is what we would turn in. You know, I'm gonna try these out and let you know which one I think is the best. The money muscle on one of the shoulders was really small. Again, these were about 7.5 pounds, 8 pound shoulders, so they were really small. I would normally buy a 10-pound shoulder, so the money muscle is going to be bigger on that one by far. And I would never cook such a small shoulder, but this was just for practice, you know, just to try some new rubs and try the pit barrel smoker and the Gateway drum smoker as well. I've never cooked a shoulder on either of them. So guys, we're going to start with this one right here. This is my Proud Souls. This is a rub that I use, the Proud Souls, the Soul Swine, and I really like I tasted them both, but I really like the flavor of this one. This one over here is the Heaven Made products, and I cooked the one on the Heaven Made products. I cooked on the pit barrel smoker. This Proud Souls rub, I cooked that on my Gateway drum. So gonna try a piece of the money muscle first. This one came off of the Gateway drum. Nice and tender. Could use a little bit more salt, but other than that, it's actually pretty good. Good smoky flavor. So I'm gonna try a piece of the money mussel. This one came off of the pit barrel, and this one's really, really tender. So there you go. Extremely tender. I'm kind of liking this one a little bit better. I mean, they're both really good. This one has a little bit more salt. So if I were to use this one again, I would put a little bit more salt in it. The Proud Souls rub, I would definitely add a little bit more salt, because this one does have a little bit more salt, and it tastes really good. So I'm gonna try one of these chunks, and this came off of the horn side of the shoulder. So I'm gonna try this one here. Really tasty, guys. You know, as far as the smoke flavor, they both have, I mean, I use charcoal, I use charwood, then I use some lump mesquite chunks. So they've got really similar profiles. But this one is a little bit more salty, not too salty, but it does have a little bit better salt profile. Let me try this one here. Guys, that's really good too. I think the shoulder that was cooked in the pit barrel is a lot more tender, and it may be because it was a little bit smaller. Okay, but definitely more tender. Just one more. I'm gonna just try some of the shredded. Really tender again. Again, this one is the Heaven Made products. Really good flavor, guys. Really good flavor. I'm gonna try the shredded, the one that came off of the Gateway with the Proud Souls. Just grab one of these tubes here. Guys, the tubes they're right under the that heavy fat of the bottom of the shoulder, so they don't get a whole lot of smoke, but definitely the pit barrel is a lot more tender. And again, they were both equal. They were both 7.5 pounds to 8 pounds. So it's not that one was bigger than the other. They cooked for the exact same time. But definitely the pit barrel is a lot more tender for some reason. I did also, you guys can see this, I got a lot more smoke ring on the pit barrel. That's the one that came off the pit barrel, okay? And here's the one that came off the Gateway. So a little bit of smoke ring, but compared to the one that came off of the pit barrel, definitely got more smoke ring, and it's a lot more tender, that's for sure. So excuse me, if I had to pick a favorite, guys, I love this one better. Believe it or not, the one that was cooked in my pit barrel. And it may be a combination of the spice, but the spice isn't going to give me smoke ring. So that's very interesting to me. Very, very interesting. That I get more smoke ring on the actual pit barrel, on the money mussel anyway, as far as the bark's the same essentially on both. Maybe a little darker on the Gateway, a little darker bark, but they're kind of the same. But this shoulder is definitely much more tender than my Gateway drum. But again, both really good, guys. It's hard to pick a favorite, but in this test, I would say that the pit barrel took it, believe it or not. And you know, I've been really happy with my Gateway. The ribs that come off of that thing are amazing, but on this cook, on this test, the pit barrel kind of takes it on this shoulder and what I cook. So guys, thanks for watching my video. Please share and subscribe to my channel if you would, and until next time, we'll see you.